Today we have got a pretty rare game that has been delivered. This is the first expensive game that I feel like I've bought in ages. It was one that I had to bid on eBay for. It has been a whole problem trying to get this game. Months and months ago I saw that Retro Ghetto had it, and I was like, oh, that does look amazing. And I was like, yeah, I want one. But it's never in stock at CEX. It's drastically underpriced on CEX's website, and just maybe one or two a month pop up on eBay, and they're always up for auction. And I have bid on like 3 of them, and the one before this ran up to like 250 quid. Granted, this one didn't go quite so far, but let me show you what's in it, shall we? Unrelated, but it has actually been a bit of a day when it comes to deliveries. I've also brought a new phone. We'll get to that one in a second, and I'll talk about the 16 Pro Max and my thoughts on it. And yeah. Okay, so in today's delivery we have got, let's get this out very gently because of the cardboard, Ultimate Spider-Man for the PlayStation 2, limited edition. Look how pretty that is. That is why I wanted it. There's a bit of cosmetic damage at the top, but the front, that is what matters. Like, realistically, I'm not too bothered about any of it. In fact, the seller was even nice enough, I didn't ask him to do it. Come on, there we go. The seller was even nice enough to send me pictures of the game working, and I didn't need that because I already have the regular version of Ultimate Spider-Man from when I was a kid. Check out that really old Tesco sticker, by the way. That's got to be nostalgic for somebody, right? Also, a massive percentage of guys are not already subscribed, so if you could fix that, that'd be fantastic. I'd love a silver play button there one day. But yeah, I just love how this looks, like how shiny it is. Like, I really hope it's being picked up on the camera the way it looks in real life, because that is awesome. There's a few of them that are up for buy now, but they're like crazy priced. This cost me 150 when I was in my bidding war for it. I jumped in at the last second. I jumped from it was at 100 with 3 seconds to go. And then when I watched the video of me bidding back, somebody bid 147 at literally less than a second to go. So it was a good thing that I bid 150, else I wouldn't have got it. So yeah, I'm happy with that. That'll do. Goal achieved. That was one of the more expensive games I was after in the recent times. I don't particularly know where it's going to live for now because it doesn't really suit the horror display that's already up. We'll figure something out. It'll probably live on here for a while I milk it for content on TikTok, because that's what we do. Just that as a lineup is a pretty effective lineup of games. It'd be better if this would be an interesting lineup if this was like Gun Club or Michigan Report from Hell. But as PS2 games go, this is now one of the most expensive ones, because every time I ever see it go on eBay, it very quickly runs up. It very, very quickly runs up. It was interesting watching the auction, because for a few days prior to the auction ending, it was only at like 30 quid, and I was like, am I going to get a steal here? But then, no, definitely not. It started shooting up, because every time there's always like 50 people watching or something like that. And next up, the next time I go to CEX, which won't be today because of the fact that I need to sort it out first, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to be trading in my old phone. So for the last 3 years, I've had an iPhone 13 Pro. And as somebody that records TikToks for a living, the battery on it is rogered. The battery health on it is 80%. And I checked with my local CEX, and they'll still take it at 80%. So we're all good there. And basically, I have to charge it about 2-3 times a day. So what I've gotten now is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which the good thing is I can put it through the business because it's almost entirely for work and such. But I was always very concerned about the Pro Max. You can see my reflection because it's so clean and new, because of the fact that it's so much bigger. But when I went to Curry's the other day to hold it, I realised it's not actually wider, it's just taller. So it doesn't really feel that much different in your hand, as it were. That is an interesting line of conversation, isn't it? Just because it's taller and not wider means that it feels no different in your hand. Jesus Christ. If that doesn't deserve a like on this video, I don't know what does. But the biggest benefit for me is that the Pro Maxes have huge capacities in comparison with the regular version of the phone. So I used the ChatGPT to do my maths for me because I'm awful. I was like, based upon my iPhone 13 having 80% of its battery health, what would be the percentage increase in going to a 16 Pro Max? And it was something like 80 to 90% increase. So theoretically, the Pro Max should last me literally nearly twice as long battery health-wise, or battery-wise throughout the day, than the than the 13 Pro. It's been 3 years. I hate buying new stuff, but it was probably time because, again, I'm having to charge it all the time and it's really bothering me. In terms of the phone itself and whether or not it's better, obviously I've not had it long enough to really comment too much about that yet. But it doesn't seem any different, which I knew going into it. I knew that it wasn't exactly going to feel like an upgrade because the last upgrade I had was I went from an iPhone SE, which is like the budget brand cheap phone that Apple do, up to the 13 Pro a few years ago, which was like the SE was like a £400 phone. So going to like a £1,200 phone 3 years ago was like, oh my God, this was quite a step up. I remember when I made that jump, my TikTok quality really jumped right up. This won't be that again because the 16 Pro camera versus the 13 Pro camera, especially the front camera, because that's how you record most of your content, doesn't seem to be much different, if at all. Realistically, I just bought it because I needed the better battery health and twice the storage space. I could have gone for 4 times the storage space. My old iPhone has 256 gigabytes. The current one I've just got was 512, and I could have got a terabyte, but the extra terabyte would have been like a £1,600 phone, and I didn't fancy that. But my thought process behind that is it's taken me 3 years to hit 256 gigabytes, so it should take me at least another 3 years to get near 500. At that point, surely there will be actually stuff that I can delete. There's no point me getting a phone that's going to take me 6 years to fill the capacity in, because if it took me 6 years, at that point my phone would be that dramatically outdated, it would be time to have upgraded years prior. So I didn't feel like there was actually a warrant in getting the terabyte, especially when it's like a business benefit anyway. But here's my plan, right? So in recent videos, I've talked about how I would kind of like a PlayStation VR 2 because I would love to play RE4 Remake VR and RE8 VR because Resident Evil, the original 4 VR on the Quest 2 is one of my favourite gaming experiences I've had in the last ever. But the problem is that the Quest 2 can't do RE4 and RE8 VR, and I would love if also RE7 VR was ported up. I don't think that's available on PSVR 2. I wished it was. But I didn't really fancy spending the nearly £400 or nearly £500 for the PSVR 2, given that it's just for a few games and given that I already have a VR headset. To some people that said, why not a Quest 3? Because RE4 VR. However, CEX, as long as they take my phone, which they said they would, based upon how it looked on the other day, will give me about, I think, 320 quid, something like that, for my phone, which covers the vast majority of the PSVR 2. In which case, today will have meant I will have upgraded my phone, doubled my battery health, kind of improved the camera, but nothing significant, can sell my old phone and use that to pay for the PSVR 2, or at least the vast majority of it. Because if I get a PSVR 2 boxed from CEX, it's like 380 quid, so it's the majority of it covered. Which seems like a decent logic shout to me, because I've always got a bad habit of keeping my old phones. In my drawers over there, I've still got an SE 2nd gen, an SE 1st gen, and my 5C from when I was like 15. So that's my plan when it comes to my next CEX trip. I'm actually going to be selling something for once, which I almost never ever do. But my partner does make a good point. I shouldn't just hold on to the phone for shits and giggles, which I usually do. In this instant, the SE, for example, I never bothered to trade in because it was £400 when I got it, and if I had it for 2 or 3 years before I sold it, it would have been worth like next to nothing. So I was like, what's the point? Meanwhile, the 13 Pro is still got some value to it, and if it could pay for the majority of a PSVR 2, a win is a win, what can I say? Also, thank you for the opportunity to talk about my sponsor to this dude. Bro is rocking a My Protein tea and telling me he doesn't spend money on clothes. Yeah, right. I do not spend money on clothes. I have genuinely, if I'm thinking about it, I do not believe I've spent money on clothes this year. Probably not last year either. The only time that I ever get clothes is My Protein clothes, or my girlfriend's mother will decently often buy me a new black t-shirt at Christmas, because I pretty much only wear black t-shirts. But yeah, let me go show you my wardrobe. Right now, for example, I'm wearing a My Protein shirt, but literally all the clothes that I wear are My Protein. So My Protein, My Protein. That one's actually not My Protein, that's trained by JP. My Protein, My Protein, My Protein, My Protein, My Protein, My Protein. No, it's the colour schemes, by the way. That's the gym that I train at. My Protein, My Protein, My Protein. Are you getting the gist? That's the gym that I train at. My Protein, 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 and then Gymshark, my protein. My actual like shirts, again, just greens, blacks and greys. Usually it's just All Saints. Because of my following in fitness, I am sponsored by my protein, so if you guys use my protein, be sure to use code Cayle and send me screenshots of any orders you've ever made ever, because they give me a £200 voucher to send out to one of you guys that does. We'll give some recommendations, shall we? Come on. Trust me, my friends love this because I often send them away with free food and free protein bars and stuff like that. So I've got this cupboard up here and then in here as well. If I was to recommend just a couple of things, I love the peanut butter wafers. They're excellent. Come Easter time, we need to be selling my protein out of the chocolate Easter egg flavoured layered bars again. These are like my favourite things they've ever done. They're an Easter exclusive, and generally, I'm pretty sure last year I sold them out of them because I pimped them so hard. And it's the same thing over here, like these are piled to the floor. So if you're actually getting protein powder, my favourite is the Whey Isolate chocolate orange flavour. I get 2.5 kilos of that a month. And then obviously just look at all the wafers and such. Yeah. An actual good shout would be this over here, by the way, is my protein have done a massive ass advent calendar for Christmas. Take a look at the size of this. Like that's my hand. It's huge. And I can't open it because my partner's retied it. But there is a sample of just about every product that my protein do within there so that you can, over Christmas, try a bunch of things. It would make sense that if you want to try stuff to get yourself one of these, it'd work out a hell of a lot cheaper than buying everything individually. Code Cayle for big discounts. Stick around. This is why when I talk about having so much cardboard and spending so much time as a tip, because big boxes every month. Yeah. Oh, and one more delivery is on the way in terms of stuff for the collection. It's actually a DVD. It's something that means a lot to me. It costs next to nothing. And I can't believe just how little of it there actually was. I'll show you guys that when it arrives tomorrow, assuming Amazon does its thing. Amazon around here is a little bit dodgy. Things come really late or just get thrown. Like, oh, it really bothers me. Because I just think about my mother. The Amazon drivers around here will just drop kick things at your front door and run away. It's like you pressed the button and then I legged it down to the bottom of the stairs and you weren't there. My mother's disabled on a second floor flat for an old people's home. Old people's estate. And it's like, there's no world in which she'd have made it. If I can't make it, she ain't making it. And it's like, what do you do? Like, if 20-somethings are not making it to the door before Amazon drivers have gone, what are like middle-aged folk doing that have got like problems, you know? And I suppose for the last update of this video, I'm currently working on a new business. So those of you that follow my other account, Cayle Grows, know that I am helping people grow their social medias and such and trying to post as much content as I can about that. And as a way of monetizing that, I've come up with 3 ways. Well, one of them's already pre-existing from like April last year or this year, I suppose, where I've got my how to grow your TikTok stuff in terms of an ebook. But generally in business, what you want to do is you want to have various different levels of buy-in. So for example, level 1 could be the how to grow your social media ebook that costs like 25 quid or 20 quid with a discount code. Level 2 could be a social media profile audit, because I get tons of people asking me to do audits, enough that I just couldn't do them all for free. And I know that other people that do what I do charge lots for them. And if I just charge like half what they're charging, I'm sure that I can get a decent chunk of them in. And then on top of that, I'm creating a community on School that's going to hopefully bring a lot of people that want to grow their stuff together. And it's going to be very fun. And I'm going to try and put together as much stuff in here as I can get. Right now, I've got 80 different topics that I want to cover in terms of social media growth and everything you need to know and need to do what I do for a living and make money on the internet. And each one of them, I'm recording a at least 10-minute video. Generally, I think the videos are averaging about 10 minutes right now in terms of runtime in making these happen. So by the time it's set up, there's going to be a solid like 15 hours worth of content on here, minimum, to work through for people that want to do this. And this will be a monthly community thing. There's going to be leaderboards. Hang on. I don't know how we're going to do it in terms of the leaderboards and like what's going to gain you points and such like that. But I think it's going to be interesting if we can gamify it, because that's sort of what it is. Right now I've called it Cayle's Content Crew because I have no idea what else to call it, but like maybe I'll come up with something better. But Yeah, and this will probably be like, I'm thinking, I've seen other people charging like nearly £100 a month, and I'm thinking maybe my first 20 people on there, it's £47 a month, and then it goes up. That could be a move. But yeah, this could be a pretty cool thing to do. I don't imagine many of you guys are very interested in this, but it's just something that I'm doing in my life, and I like to update you guys on what I'm doing. But if you are interested in stuff like this, check out the description of this video and go and find my other YouTube account where every video on there is about content creation. Basically, my motto is going to be, you can learn how to do it all for free through the videos that I post, or you can pay for the variety of different products on offer to get it done quicker and more efficiently and linearly. I tell you what though, really annoyingly, one problem I am having is that the camera is stuttering on the videos that I've created so far. I've only made like 4 out of 80, but the camera's stuttering. I'm using a Camlink 4K from Elgato with my Canon M50 to link it to my PC, and in OBS's log file showed no frame drops. The preview for OBS says no problems whatsoever, but the finished recorded video has the stutter, and I don't know how to stop it happening. I've changed just about every possible setting that I possibly can, and I think I must have now narrowed it down to it might be the cable. It's a pretty long cable. On paper, the cable is 5 meters, and that should be just fine because it's a micro HDMI cable, and apparently that is fine. But I am now running out of options in terms of things that it could be. So I bought a new cable, and I'm going to try and film closer to my PC so that I can use a shorter cable. That arrives tomorrow, and hopefully that solves the problem, because if it doesn't, I have absolutely no idea what the problem is, and it's really, really bothering me, because it's a whole kind of video that's like becoming harder to make than it should be. And I've troubleshot just about everything that I think that is a factor. Like, my PC is a beefcake and physically capable of doing it. The equipment all being used is all sufficient high quality. That cable's supposed to be a 4K cable, so I don't know what the problem is. But yeah, so that was my day. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yours. Click the screen to watch something else.